Hello, hello, and welcome to the Engineer Your Success, Leadership, and Life Harmony Like a Mother show. I'm your host, Kenya Romanovska, award-winning investigative journalist turned maternity leave and working motherhood strategist. And today we're covering a pretty juicy topic, mom guilt. Right? That's a big part of the so-called motherhood penalty. I think a huge part of the motherhood penalty is actually how we feel when our experience of time changes when we have a child, right? Or two or three. I just had my third, and I'm so glad to be taking a lot more showers with this one than the first time around. Gosh, I remember how it was when I had my first child, and it felt like I never had time for myself. Like I had to choose between going to the bathroom and nursing, or between having a shower and eating, or between sleep and eating. It was such a huge adjustment. And that's why I'm here to help you out, because I realized that so many moms were having the same challenges as me. And on top of that, they felt a lot of guilt about juggling a career and a family, right? So the topic I want to talk about today, it's pretty simple. Nothing that I'm going to say today should shatter any minds, but it's important and it's doable. Many of us as moms feel guilty that we're spending too much time at work and not enough time with our kids. Or maybe, we talk about things like mom brain or mom fog. And there's just this feeling of guilt that plagues so many moms. When we look at the results of our motherhood penalty assessment on our website, prosandbabes.com, we see that many moms feel like they cannot be a good mother and a good professional. And I felt that way too. And yesterday we had a special event with a group called the Working Motherhood Experience. A number of us, about 10 of us in Edmonton, gathered to paint our experience of being a working mom. And I realized how much motherhood transformed me. And one of the biggest gifts I got from becoming a mother is becoming aware of the importance of mindset. That's one of the top things. Well, the top thing that my clients write in our monthly accountability forms is I had no idea how important mindset was, how it was really the foundation of everything. And the beliefs you have about being a mom, a working mom, the guilt you feel, the sensations you feel, that creates your experience over and over again, right? So if you feel guilty and you do nothing about it, you're probably going to stay in that same state of mind, right? And in that same state of being. So how do I structure my time to avoid that feeling of guilt? I've covered this in a number of my workshops, and I dive deep into this work with my clients, but I have a special way that I design my calendar every year. I do it in May, between May and July. I print 12 months worth of calendars, and I populate it with the things that I know for sure. My husband's work schedule, he works in education, so we have a pretty good idea of his schedule. And then the important things for our family. So I actually start by populating my calendar with things that really matter to us: our extended vacations, the time I want to spend with my kids, the time my husband wants to spend going hunting or doing trips in the outdoors, right? We have to put that on the calendar. So I start off with that principle aligned with seasons. I have seasons of productivity and I have seasons of pullback. I used to want to be on every single season of the year. I would push through even during my vacations, even during vacation seasons, during the summer, even around the Christmas season. I would schedule my calendar on a week by week basis without looking at the ebbs and flows of that schedule holistically. And I just felt this feeling of discomfort. Like there was never, it was always pushing, 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 and there was not enough time to retreat, right? So I started populating my calendar with seasons. And then I drill into those seasons of productivity and those seasons of rest. And I design calendar rules for myself for the blocks that are really important for my business and for my personal life, right? And I get clear on how I actually want to feel in my parenting and what I want to do with my kids. What is the opposite of guilt for you? What is the opposite of that feeling of like there's never enough time in a day? Does it feel spacious? Does it feel unrushed? Right? Does it feel connected and joyful? And so the more I started feeling aware of that and the type of activities I want to do with my kids, I started writing it down with my year compass, for example. And I started switching little things, like taking my younger son to a cafe after I dropped off my older child at school. And we would have an extra hour or two together, or doing a little play date before my third child was born. I took out my son out of childcare at 2 p.m. and would take him to the splash park or to the amusement park. I map out exactly what it is that I want to experience with every one of my children, and I actually put it in my calendar. It's that simple. Truly, it is that simple. We don't need to make it more complicated. I like to do this work, of course, in alignment with my values and my vision, right? On how to choose these activities to have those experiences in a meaningful way in alignment with my values. But ultimately, this mindset shift for me as a mother started about 7 years ago when, in a book club discussion, we brought up the book I Know How She Does It. And this book asked you to do an assessment of how you spend your time, 168 hours per week, right? We all have that. How do you actually spend that time? Where does that time go? We all get that same amount of time. So it really started shifting my mindset around the time I had with my family, with my kids in my life. I even took the exercise further and designed a question where, over 25 years, how many hours do you actually get? And how are you going to spend them in a meaningful way? So I started becoming way more aware of what my time was doing for me, where it was going, and reflecting every year. How do I want to spend it? How do I want to feel? How do I allocate my time budget this year? So, in essence, this is my relatively simple formula of how I design quality time with my kids is I've made, through different exercises, lists of activities I want to do with them. When do I want to do them? What are the principles? What are the rules? And maybe that first year that I did it, I didn't fully succeed in implementing it, but I kept on reviewing that booklet where I wrote those goals. I kept on coming back to it, and year after year, I became better, right? So today I will keep this short and sweet. Of course, if you were just tuning in, you can get the recording on our mailing list. We record these podcasts, but I can repeat. I saw that somebody just tuned in. The way I avoid mom guilt is essentially by figuring out what is the opposite of it and how do I actually want to spend my time with my kids, and I put it on my calendar. Really, it doesn't have to be that complicated. If you are tuning into the show today, I encourage you to write down, how do I feel about my time with my kids? How do I want to feel? What are the different activities I want to do with my kids? Put it somewhere in a visible place. And next time you do your yearly calendar planning exercise, which I do, actually put it on your calendar. And then stop saying yes to the things that will keep you from having time for your kids. Because I can guarantee you that if you're a working mom, that you are in demand. Everybody wants a piece of you for volunteering commitments, for extra projects. But if you don't have a clear idea of where you want your time to go, then other people are going to use your talents. So there you go. That's a wrap for today. Write down the opposite of guilt, how it feels for you, how you want to spend time with your kids, how much of it, and put it on your calendar. All right. If this was too deceivingly simple for you, then take action, try it, and let me know how it went. Right? In 90 days, in half a year, there's no rush in implementing any of this right away. But you start with small steps. You start by changing your mindset. You start by setting up an intention. And then over time, trust that if you keep it visible and you go back to it, you will start aligning your action with that. Okay. So I hope that this short episode was useful for you today. I hope you are going to take action. I hope that you will spend less time talking about how you feel mom guilt and complaining about how hard life is as a working mom, because yes, it comes with its challenges. Instead, take that time to surround yourself with people who want to create and design meaningful lives and start taking action. Be patient with yourself and trust that if you stay consistent with that approach and are mindful of your time, it'll unfold for you. We don't have to live in mom guilt and feel isolated and alone. We can do something about it. Okay? With the right mindset, with the right vision, with the right faith and action, we can get there. Have a wonderful day, everyone.